Hi guys, and welcome back to Tailor Tales. I am so happy it's updated and we get an ending, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm really excited. So let's continue where we left off. FYI, like with the new update, you can make your boutique look so pretty, and also like and change this and then change your outfit. It just looks so good. It just looks good. I already made the outfit for this chapter, so let's get going. It's the dinner that NIEL has to go through. Angela is somewhere on the beach enjoying her rehab vacation, but me, I'm sitting next to NIEL in a very expensive limousine, heading towards his parents' estate. Their personal chauffeur is taking us to their home. 2 days ago, NIEL contacted his parents and got invited over for dinner. He decided it would be a good time to break the news to his parents and asked if I would like to join him as well. Since I already promised him I would be there when he'd reveal the engagement was fake, I simply said yes. Oh, fuck. I forgot about the whole fake engagement, and that's why I'm here, in a fancy car, sitting next to an equally anxious-looking NIEL. My nerves are killing me. NIEL? I call for him. I just saw your head. NIEL turns his head away from the window he was staring out of. How are we going to do this? Should we just say it straight from the beginning, before dinner, or do you want to wait after dinner? Or perhaps when we're walking on the door, so we can shout it and then shout it at them as we're leaving? NIEL bites his lip before growling at me. Stop your rambling. I can't concentrate on my thoughts if you keep talking. Well, what exactly are your thoughts? I know I said we'd tell them together, but we haven't really decided on how we're going to do it. And before I run my mouth off at dinner, I just want to know what your plan is. I'll tell them, he said firmly. You'll keep your pretty little mouth shut and let me do the talking. Really? Don't say that. I tell him offended. I'm offended right now, yes. Say what? That pretty little mouth comment. We're not really engaged, NIEL. I am not your trophy wife. Don't worry. No one would ever mistake you as a trophy wife. I narrow my eyes at him. I am not in the mood for your childish bickering. Then how about you zip your lips? Your voice is a nuisance to my thoughts. Asshole. My anger flares up. Now listen here. If you do not watch what you're saying, I'm going to go out there and give them a piece of my mind, regardless of your wishes. That's not what you want now, is it? NIEL grunts at me and otherwise keeps quiet. That sounded like such a meh, kind of, like he was just saying meh. I fiddle my fingers on my lap. I'm on edge. NIEL's on edge. I'm laughing as well. It's not a good combination because apparently we can't do anything but say nasty things to each other like this. 2 days ago we were civilized and I felt like we made some progress with each other, but as soon as we're both stressed, we fight like cats and dogs. Finally, NIEL speaks up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. He sighs, a worried expression gracing his features. I'm stressed and nervous. I have no idea how my mother will take the news, nor do I know what will happen to me afterwards. Put your hand on his top to comfort him. Yeah, fuck it. I place my hand on top of his to comfort him and give it a little squeeze. NIEL slightly tilts his head towards me. A small, nervous-looking smile appears on his lips. He squeezes my hand back. Oh, NIEL. Why am I so weak to cute guys? We drive the rest of the way in silence, which reveals itself to be deadly to me as I keep thinking of different scenarios in my head, each one worse than the last. When we finally arrive, I look out in the window and I'm blown away by the huge mansion in front of me. The front yard is twice its size. There's even someone tending to the yard by shoveling snow out of the path. Oh my god, it's snowing? It's snowing! I step closer to NIEL, feeling intimidated by the sheer size of the property. It really is a good visual It's a good visual representation of their wealth, and I'm going to make these very wealthy people very angry. I can't wait. You didn't tell me they lived in a mansion, I tell NIEL, surprised. Well, like, what did you expect, Meli? What do you think they lived in? A shoe? My parents are wealthy, you know that, he says as we get out of the car. Like, yeah, Melly, come on. I hurry up after Neil, a bit afraid he'd leave me alone in these unfamiliar surroundings. Oh, that's fancy. The front door is large and painted red. When it opens up, we both enter the receiving hall.
Welcome back, Master Neil,
greets the butler politely. Neil nods his head at him, and we both walk further into the hall. I'm practically glued to Neil's back. You have servants? I shout under my breath.
Melly, can you contain yourself? Neil snaps at me. Stop commenting on every little thing.
I'm sorry, I'm nervous, I explain honest. Just being here gives me the chills. I follow Neil as we enter a different room, what appears to be a large lounge area, and I see Evelyn seated on a white leather couch. I almost want to dunk behind Neil as I see her, but I swallow my nerves and stand next to him instead as we approach her. Is he going to tell her now, or is he going to wait until dinner? I have no clue regarding what Neil is going to do now, so I decide to keep quiet. Oh, she's still really pretty. Neil, Ellie, welcome. Oh my, you both look a little pale. Are you famished? Asked Evelyn.
We're fine, Mother. Just a little tired from the trip.
Neil answers before sitting down on the couch. I have no idea what voice I gave her before. I stand awkwardly for a second, then quickly sit down next to Neil. The white leather feels cold to the touch. Everything in this room looks like it has the minimum price of a yearly salary. I've already known Neil was wealthy, but I guess what it's implied never really occurred to me until now. Yes, it might be noticeable in his attitude, but Neil likes to walk around instead of drive, and he goes to coffee shops to drink coffee. He doesn't have his own chauffeur driving him around or a butler preparing his drinks. I guess at certain times I forget Neil was wealthy. He never really flaunted it around as much as I expected him to.
Yeah, like, you think about it, not really. Like, sure, he was kind of a dick sometimes, but he never, like, showed off his wealth. I don't think. Maybe I totally forgot.
The uncomfortable silence stretches on, and I'm growing restless. Nice, butler? I blurt out. Neil gives me a dirty, shifty look, and I can imagine his voice clearly telling me to shut up. I lower my head and look down at my lap. Which servant, dear? Was their service unacceptable to you? Asked Evelyn.
Their service was excellent. Melly is simply not used to having them around, Neil explains. She's middle class after all.
Now it's my turn to give Neil a dirty look. Really? You're gonna put, like, middle class here? Oh my god, I fucking hate Neil right now.
You know, Marcus and I have not always been living the dream, Evelyn says. We have to work long and hard for our careers, for our ambitions. Sometimes that meant scraping by, choosing whether or not to buy groceries and go hungry that day.
Evelyn flashes a smile at Neil.
My son, he'd never know such a hardship. We worked hard to provide him that kind of living, that kind of life.
Well, that's certainly true.
You have nothing to worry about, Melly. As a woman coming from a similar background, we welcome you with open arms as our future daughter. Fuck.
I was about to say, like, I am so happy. She's like, we understand each other. We're on that level to understand each other. Then she's like, oh, future daughter. Like, oh, shit. Oh, God, I just want to die right now. She's gave me her blessing, but I'm not actually getting married to Neil. Shit. Neil hides his face behind his hand, short of words as well.
Where's father?
Neil decides to ask. He sounds really tense, but who could blame him? Because I'm tense, I'm nervous, I'm dying. Probably in his study. He's always working. Subconsciously, I place my hand on his lower back in an effort to give him some sort of courage. I lean closer to him to whisper in his ear. Don't do it in front of the mom. Don't drag it out, Neil. This is getting worse by the second.
Neil clears his voice. I have something to say to both of you.
Oh, is it about the wedding? Asked Evelyn.
I suppose it is. Can you call father?
Evelyn waves at the servant who's been standing idle near the doorway, and he quickly disappears over the silent command given.
Have you decided on a date? It's alright if you want to wait a year or two, you know? Young couples do wait a lot these days.
Can we just do that? Oh my god, we could just do that. I cringe at each word she says. She really is looking forward to this wedding.
Can't we wait until both of you are here? It's important, Neil stresses.
Certainly. We anxiously wait as time ticks by.
sitting there uncomfortably on the white leather couch, whereas Evelyn is browsing on a tablet. When we finally see Marcus emerge in the doorway, we both sigh out in relief before tensing right up simultaneously. Now for the hard part. Oh god, I'm nervous for this. What's going on, boy? Grunts Marcus. I hear Miss Marsh hasn't been able to reach you for the last couple of days. Have you been skipping work again?
I raised my eyebrows at this. I didn't realize NIEL was missing work. I thought he had said he had the day off.
Tell her to mind her own business, says NIEL. You're right, NIEL. This is my business.
Below, Marcus now standing in front of his son.
Literally my business. Who do you think gave you that job? I can't have you coming and going as you please. This has gone on long enough. Darling, don't you think it's time for you to turn the other cheek and perhaps give NIEL some time off? He needs to spend more time with his fiancée, suggests Evelyn. Marcus throws his hands up in the air so that he can go off gallivanting around with this art girl and let him think he can do whatever he pleases. Let it poison his mind.
Art girl?
No, you've been poisoned long enough already by the inane cousin of yours. It's time to enter the real world, the corporate world full of responsibilities. No more slacking off on dodging your duties because that's what this is, son. It's your duty.
NIEL is uncharacteristically quiet. He's clenching his hands into fists, but his head is turned away from his father. Avoiding my eyes, he isn't saying a word. I'm appalled at his father's words. Seriously, art girl, is that all I am? Do you want to fight me? We can take this outside. I am not scared to slap a bitch.
You've had your fun in college. You wasted some precious time getting that good-for-nothing bachelor's degree, and your head is now filled with nothing but useless art images. It's time to put all this behind before you disappoint me any further.
NIEL hangs his head down. He still hasn't said anything at all. I can feel my own anger bubble up inside of me, marking my cheeks with the color red.
Marcus huffs. You're a man now, NIEL. And men keep their word. Don't make me cut you off entirely and leave you to fend for yourself. Then he finally looks at me. And perhaps you should find someone more suitable for you to marry. This art girl will only succeed in pulling you astray even further, and I will not tolerate it.
Marcus! Don't talk like that to NIEL's fiancée, yells Evelyn.
Admit it, girl. You're slowly doing this for the money, aren't you? Ah, yes, you really must have thought you hit the jackpot with my son. Coming from a wealthy background, well, I'm not going to let someone like you take advantage of that. I mean, both of them are like, fuck yous, but let me see if I can save. Can I shave? No, I cannot shave. This is it.
This is the hardest choice because I know there's no bad endings, like we know this.
I'm just gonna say I'm not with NIEL for the money. I don't know. It's like, I know there's no bad choices, like that's the thing. But like, do I yell at him because of what he said to me? Because I really want to defend NIEL right here. I think I'm gonna go with I'm not with NIEL for the money.
Who does he think he is, accusing me of being some kind of gold digger? I'm not with NIEL for the money, I said, gritted teeth. You're only saying that now. Anyone who gets closer to the Forrester's hair has an ulterior motive. You're simply a distraction to him. He doesn't need any arm candy.
Oh god, that's not my line, that's his. You're only saying that now. Anyone who gets closer to the Forrester's hair has an ulterior motive. You're simply a distraction to him. He doesn't need any arm candy.
First he accuses me of being a gold digger, and now I am arm candy. This man is really infuriating, and I'm slap a bitch. I stand up straight from the couch to face Marcus. I'm not some trophy wife he can parade around, and I'm not in it for the money. I don't care if NIEL's rich. I don't even care if he's a Forrester.
Marcus, please, you're insulting our son's fiancé, Evelyn pleads with him. Look at NIEL is like, oh shit. No one gets close to us without wanting something out of it. Marcus sneers at me.
I'm appalled at his mindset. Does he really think people only get close to NIEL due to his heritage and money? Is this what he thinks of his own son? Is it really that unthinkable? Can't you conceive for a minute that someone could actually love your son?
Melly, NIEL peeps up. Just don't.
I look at NIEL frowning. Why? Should I let Marcus talk about you and me like this? Because I won't stand for it.
NIEL, do away with this relationship. We've got no time for the drama this Missy's mouth is sure to drag us into.
My mouth drops open, and there's no way I can contain myself any longer. I'm not even going to marry him in the first place, I say loudly. Everyone's eyes widen, and Evelyn looks at me sympathetically. Oh no, Meli, please ignore my husband's comments. Please don't let him think he can break you and NIEL apart. That's not it. NIEL and I were... NIEL cuts me off. Meli, come on, let me explain. He gets up from the couch as well. Explain what, boy? Marcus asks. I'm not engaged, nor am I planning to get married, NIEL confesses. We lied. He takes a few seconds for the information to register with Marcus and Evelyn, both looking at us with confused expressions. This is so fucking good. Marcus laughs again. Brilliant. This is brilliant. This means I have nothing to worry about. You can come back to the hospital to resume your work without any distractions then. Oh, well, that's... Evelyn doesn't know what to say. Don't you even want to know why we were pretending, I say? Details aren't important. What's important is that you have no reason to be in this house, so I will kindly ask you to leave, says Marcus. Angry that he's being so dismissive towards me, I stand my ground. The only reason why I pretended to be his fiancé was so NIEL would not have to work as much, so he have an excuse to rest, since without these lies he wasn't allowed to, because that's what's going on. You're overworking your son to a point where he collapses from exhaustion. That's not a life anyone should have to endure. Sweetie, is this true? Evelyn asks out of concern, looking at NIEL. NIEL doesn't answer. He merely stands there with clenched fists. Why isn't he saying anything? What NIEL does is none of your concern. I will now get my chauffeur to bring you back to your place. Marcus beckons to a servant. Shouldn't your son's health be more of your concern? I bite back. Shouldn't you care about his health and his happiness? Working for you makes him so miserable that he'd rather hide from you. Enough, he says. Remove yourself from this house immediately. My chauffeur is waiting for you outside. I can't listen to any more drivel from your spout. You're nothing but a nuisance. Go back to where you came from. I don't need your chauffeur because I'm leaving myself. I'm not going to stand here and listen to the awful things you say about NIEL. I'm sorry for the intrusion. I give NIEL one last look before turning around and heading straight outside. Ooh, that's some... Save. Hell yeah.